Dr. Yang is an epidemiologist in the Department of Cancer Epidemiology and Prevention Research with Alberta Health Services. Dr. Yang last spoke to us in February 2020, and a lot has happened since she talked to us at that time. What has happened is Dr. Yang's received research funding from the Canadian Cancer Society through Prostate Cancer Canada, implementation research for a 2-year study in how Tai Chi can help to reduce anxiety and keep up physical function through implementing a prehabilitation intervention for radical prostatectomy patients. So I don't want to steal all her thunder. She's going to shed a little more light and detail on that. And I think she's got a little special activity for us. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Yang. There'll be lots of time for questions after her presentation. And I hope Rhett has got your presentation queued up and ready to go. And with that, we're going to get Rhett to pin Dr. Yang, and away we go. So welcome, Dr. Yang. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Brad, for the introduction. And thanks for Dorsey to reset up the connection and presentation. I'm really happy to be back. Today I'll be talking about energetics in cancer prevention and survivorship. And the core message of my talk has never been changed, is move more and think less. Next slide, please. So I want to start with to introduce who I am. Who am I? Who am I or who I am? Forgive me, I'm not a native speaker. So next slide, please. So I came from China. I did my bachelor's degree in Beijing Sports University. Already back then, I was studying the effect of mind-body exercise and how that influences the immune function in older adults. And I did my master's degree in kinesiology as well as statistics, with a focus looking at how to measure physical activity in the free living conditions. Then I moved on to the UK and I did my PhD in looking at how do we increase the physical activity level in the whole population. And then I moved to America again, and I think it's at this point I began to focus more focus on the cancer population. I was looking at how weight, physical activity, and sitting behavior related to cancer risk as well as cancer outcomes. And then I spent 3 years in Austria, Vienna, where I got training in sleep and nutrition, looking at how those lifestyle aspects may influence cancer risk and outcomes. And about 2 years ago, I moved to the beautiful Calgary and began my career here in Alberta Health Services. And since I moved here, I've reached out to Prostate Calgary, and I felt like I have received a lot of support from the organization, and had a conversation with Brett, who has been instrumental in helping us to develop this prehabilitation projects. Next slide, please. So today I'll be talking about a broad overview of my research focus and introduce more on the upcoming prehabilitation trial that has been recently funded. And then I want to also talk about my future research directions, and I really want to hear more from you guys, and what's important for you, what topics that you think our researchers should be focusing on. Next slide, please. So a lot of my research are, as you see from my training, is focusing on how lifestyle influence cancer risk as well as cancer outcomes. And a lot of these lifestyles are energy balance related, for example, weight, physical activity, and nutrition, as well as sleep. And for me, the major focus has been physical activity, obesity, and sitting behavior. Next slide, please. In particular, physical activity, as you see, my training was sports medicine in the beginning, that there has been a crucial role of physical activity as well as nutrition for cancer survivors. And this guideline was, I think this guideline was issued in 2012, which is nearly 10 years ago. And the importance of nutrition and physical activity has been well recognized in the survivorship care after cancer. And this CA, a cancer journal for clinician, and this is the top journal in this research field. Next slide, please. And more recently, this was just a year ago, they published another guideline also focusing on physical activity or exercise, and talking about why exercise is medicine in oncology. And this is really, again, another guideline issued trying to urge clinicians to get involved to provide counsel or advice to people who diagnosed with cancer to begin exercise. Next slide, please. But as I'm coming from a sports medicine background, I always thinking what types of exercise, because exercise is not one thing, and there are different aspects of an exercise. Next slide, please. And we've seen from the epidemiological evidence, we saw that muscle strength has been associated with decreased cancer mortality risk. Next slide, please. As well as the cardiorespiratory fitness has been shown protective of total cancer mortality risk. Next slide, please. And a more recent study, this project we've been working on for the past year and is now under review. We found that balance function is also associated with cancer-specific mortality. And I think this is particularly important in this population is that we start looking at the data, but it's not published yet. But we also see that the balance function is worse in people who have diagnosis with prostate cancer compared to those without cancer. So next slide, please. After we show all those, like, you know, how strength exercise may improve your muscle strength, aerobics are targeting the cardiorespiratory fitness, balance, the balance exercise is more targeting the balance function, and stretching is like a natural component of most of the exercise. So what types of exercise? And then for me, I have, you know, I'm from China, so I immediately thought of Tai Chi because I felt like a Tai Chi is really the exercise that blended all the aspects of exercise as well as the fitness targets of each types of exercise. Next slide, please. So me and my team conducted this comprehensive review study looking at what types of study has been done, looking at Tai Chi for chronic illness management. What is the current evidence? And we actually found that Tai Chi has been, you know, as a way of exercise, been conducted in 16 types of chronic illness conditions, and there has been benefits associated with Tai Chi in nearly all types of chronic conditions. Next slide, please. And specific to cancer, patients with cancer, there has been a number of studies done. This table maybe is too busy, but it basically is showing that we've seen evidence how Tai Chi exercise may improve level of fatigue, body mass index, and severity of depression, and a number of physical function outcomes, muscle strength, as well as biomarkers of inflammation. Next slide, please. So as Brad mentioned, that we've recently funded through Canadian Cancer Society to conduct this prehabilitation study. So prehabilitation prehabilitation is not new. I think it's been practiced in surgical setting, that it's a preparation intervention that get people's physical function as well as psychological well-being up before the surgery, so people can tolerate the surgical stress better going through the surgery itself. And next slide, please. So I want to talk about why this research is important. As in this particular population, we know that surgery is a common but a very distressing treatment for prostate cancer, and there is lasting side effects associated with surgery. So this has also been shown in a project that I've done in the US. It's called PI, Prostatectomy, Incontinence, and Erectile Function. This study was funded through the NCI and was done in St. Louis as well as Boston. Next slide, please. Just a quick overview of the study that we enrolled more than 400 localized prostate cancer patients. I think it was in 2009. It's been a while, and we measured obesity, physical activity level of the patients, and follow them up prospectively for 12 months and keep tracking outcomes focusing on urinary and sexual function, which are the main distressing side effects associated with surgery. Next slide, please. Yes, so this is, we have really extensive data and very detailed information on obesity and physical activity, so try to get a very precise measure of the exposures that we're interested in. Next slide, please. And the urinary and sexual function were the outcomes and been measured by the expanded prostate cancer index composite, which is a very reliable and widely used measurement in this population. Next slide, please. Because this is unpublished findings, so I'll be talking about it. So that, but I'm not gonna. I don't think I'm allowed to present the data here. But what we found was that the pre-surgical obesity and physical activity level actually do have an impact on the long-term urinary and sexual outcomes in this group of surgical prostate cancer survivors. And in particular, we observed that pre-surgical obesity was more relevant to the urinary outcomes in this population, and physical activity was more influential to the sexual outcome after the surgery. And I'll keep you posted as this project progresses, but that's all I can say at this moment. And so that's informing us that, so if the pre-surgical health level may have an impact on the outcomes after the surgery, suggesting that a prehabilitation maybe they can improve patient-reported outcome and the physical function, and also decrease the treatment-related side effects. Next slide, please. And in fact, prehabilitation, as I mentioned, that it's not new, but it's rather, I think it's rather new in this context, in this specific context. And it has been believed that it is believed that prehabilitation before the surgery can help to boost up patients' physical and psychological well-being, and keep the patient's well-being up and high going through the whole treatment phase. Next slide, please. But as I was talking about in this context, in the context of radical prostatectomy, there's actually no prehabilitation existed, or there are something that I'm not aware of. But given the rather lengthy, well, it's not really lengthy, but there is a waiting period between treatment decision and surgery actually happen. So that presents really a gap in the healthcare system, and we hope that to be able to do this study to show that, to be able to implement a prehabilitation in Calgary here. Next slide, please. So the overall aim of this study is to test the feasibility and utility of the implementation strategy of a TIGI intervention through Calgary Prostate Cancer Center. We also received a lot of supports from the Calgary Prostate Cancer Center. I say that is to test the feasibility is also because this is new and there's no existing models. So we're trying to see, the primary objective is trying to see whether it is feasible to implement a TIGI intervention before the surgery happen through the Calgary Prostate Cancer Center. And a secondary aim was to look at, does it work? Whether implementing a prehabilitation on before the surgery can this prehabilitation really help to improve patient-reported outcome as well as their physical function, and whether there is an influence, or benefits on in managing the side effects after surgery. So with the ultimate goal, we would like to see, or our hypothesis is that a TIGI prehabilitation model will improve patient experience, outcome, and at the same time improve the quality of care, and in a simple, efficient, and a minimally disruptive manner. And I want to mention that the unique thing about our study is that we incorporated an optional caregiver involvement, that so the intervention is not delivered to the patient themselves, but as well as the caregiver, if the caregiver has an interest to be involved. We feel like in this way, one aspect is that caregivers very often go through the shared experience with the patient. So prehabilitation will help their well-being as well. And consequently, the caregiver will be able to better support the patient going through the whole journey. Next slide, please. So the study design is a randomized controlled trial. So that means we will recruit participants and randomly assign them to the intervention or the control group, where the intervention will receive a 8 weeks intervention that is a TIGI exercise. The TIGI exercise will last for 8 weeks with 2 days each week being supervised session, meaning that there will be, of course, everything now is on Zoom. It's an online teaching with a real teacher leading the supervised session for 1 hour. So that's 2 days per week. And on the other 5 days, the participants will also receive a pre-recorded online teaching module, and that will be only 15 minutes per week. So the idea is that you can still keep moving throughout the week on, 2 days supervised, 5 days unsupervised, but on the unsupervised exercise days, it's only 15 minutes. So that won't pose too much burden in terms of time, in their life. In the control group, they will receive the standard materials, print materials, talking about how to management or how to management or cope with the cancer, and we will assess outcome. The outcomes we're interested in are psychosocial outcome and physical function, as well as activity tracker to look at the physical activity level throughout the study. And after the baseline evaluation, we will also we will do the first follow-up measurement at week 6. So week 6 is the week 6 of 8 weeks intervention. So that will be 2 weeks before the surgery. So we having the assessment here is just trying to say whether they can actually improve. At this assessment, we're more interested in anxiety and psychological well-being. And after the surgery, we will have 3 follow-up. The first follow-up is at 2 weeks, where again the focus will be on psychosocial well-being. And at the 6 weeks and 12 weeks follow-up, the assessments will be looking at both psychosocial as well as physical function, as well as side effects outcomes. And so at that time, we're trying to see, besides the psychosocial well-being, whether there may be a difference between functional as well as side effects patterns between these 2 groups. So currently we're setting up the study, and we aim to start rolling in January next year. And we would also very much appreciate your input in this study, as well as I saw that there is a target group for newly diagnosed prostate cancer patients in the Prostate Calgary supportive team. So we would really appreciate your support in recruitment as well. Next slide, please. If we were in person, I would have loved to, demonstrate Tai Chi in person, but you see how small the video is. I mean, me. So I pick one of my favorite routine on YouTube, and I would invite everyone do this 10 minutes routine together and have a feel of how the mind-body exercise is. And I also want to hear about your feedback after this exercise. And to me, these types of exercise it's a very efficient, meaning that you don't really spend too much effort to do the exercise, but it can actually move your body and get your body trained. Shall we start?
Yeah, just give me 1 second here to share the audio.
Just you have your arms extended, and I think you don't want anything in your space. That's all. This is another thing that I like those types of mind-body exercise, is that you don't need equipment. There's no requirement on equipment, and the space requirement is really minimum. And you don't even need to have special shoes or something. You can do barefoot if you want. Of course, you can also dress very much like this guy, but actually there's no any special dress is needed. Standing!
The brocade is a form of Qigong. Remember that the number of sequences is not fixed. You can repeat the individual exercises from 5 to 12 times, or more if desired. Please modify any of the movements that are too difficult for you. Palms raised to heaven. Hands interlocked, then stretch over the head. Breathe in as the hands come up. Exhale as the hands come down. This stimulates the triple burner meridian, and it's good for circulation. Separating heaven and earth. Exhale as you stretch, and breathe in as the hands come together. One hand reaches towards heaven and the other towards earth. This exercise helps to regulate the spleen and stomach and helps digestion. Drawing the bow, step out in a horse stance position. Hands will come together in front of the face. Make a fist and stretch out like pulling a bow. Exhale as you stretch, and inhale as the hands come back in front of the face. This posture works the liver, heart, and lungs, as well as the muscles in the upper body. Wise owl gazes backward. Inhale while slowly turning the head to the side as far as possible, and exhale as your head comes back to the center. The move helps ease tension, calm the mind, and promote organ functioning. Turn head, strengthen core. With legs in horse stance position and hands on thigh, lean forward and turn your head and body from side to side. Exhale while turning to the sides, and inhale while coming back to the center. This move is said to let the heart and kidneys complement each other. Strengthen the kidneys, touch the sky. Begin with hands on lower back of the kidney area, then trace the hands down the back of the legs, up the inside of the legs, then extend the hands above the head. From the back, looks like this. Down the back of the legs, up the inside of the legs, extend arms above head, and stretch back. Inhale, hands on your kidneys. Exhale, going down the back of your legs. Inhale up the inside. Stretch, hold your breath here. Exhale down. This exercise not only helps the kidneys, but strengthens the waist, knees, and other organs as well. Punch with eye of tiger. Form fists at waist level. As you punch forward, slightly sink in your knees. As you bring your fists back up, straighten the legs. This move is said to strengthen the muscles of the whole body. Exhale as you punch forward. Inhale as your fist comes back. Touch earth, pound heels. Arms circle up overhead. Then bend over and touch toes. Roll the shoulders back, then pound on the heels. This move is said to strengthen the back, the hamstrings on the back of legs, and the shoulders. Pounding the heels helps energize the chi. Breathe in. Exhale as you go down. Breathe in, roll the shoulders, exhale, and hop on heels.
How's that?
Yes, very good. Very good.
I am sweating. I should do more exercise. Well, I hope you enjoyed it, and we can discuss more later in the end. And I want to talk more about my future research. And my research has really been following a translational framework. I do research focusing on evidence generation from different types of study design, including basic science studies, observational and interventional study. And I'm working towards together with evidence synthesizing and with a goal to translate the knowledge into clinical practice and to inform policy. And from there, keep monitoring and, doing surveillance on cancer-related outcome as well as behaviors. And from there, then again, to inform what types of research study we should be doing in the whole within the scope of energy balance or energetics and in cancer prevention and survivorship. Next slide, please. So the current research that is running in my research program, broadly speaking, two parts. One is evidence generation, and the other part is implementation science. And the one we saw the prehabilitation is really the implementation science that we're trying to move evidence to clinical practice. And in terms of evidence generating, I'm also interested in we've talked a lot about how physical activity may influence cancer risk, but there are different aspects of the daily activities. For example, when do you do the exercise? How is your daily activity pattern looking like? Are you more active in the morning, or if you're more active in the evening? And how those activity patterns interact with your sleep as well as diet may influence different types of cancer risk and outcomes. And the other thing, so going further into that research question, I'm really interested in understanding the biological basis of energy balance and the cancer, and how the 24 hours daily activity pattern influence cancer outcomes, and what is the biological mechanisms there. Next slide, please. And another thing I'm particularly interested in is we've observed a possible, this is our theory right now, that whether men with prostate cancer may experience accelerated aging. And some evidence have shown that, for example, here is the 4-meter giant speed, which is the measure that can proxy the physical function in adults. So there's some evidence showing that the men went through prostate cancer treatment may have a lower physical function measured by 4-meter giant speed compared to the healthy control. Next slide, please. And these different cardiovascular disease risk pattern also differ in men treated prostate cancer with different types of treatment. With the the hormonal therapy have shown the highest risk elevation in terms of CVD. Next slide, please. And a similar pattern have been showing the data that men treated prostate cancer with ADT have a higher risk of fracture as well. Next slide, please. So in the my future research for planning the research studies that in planning is I'm trying to understand what is the aging trajectory of cancer survivors, and there has been hypothesis thinking that maybe cancer survivor have phase shifts in so you can see this small red arrow here, that so if there's just phase shifts, so the trajectory between cancer survivors and as well as those people with no cancer are still in parallel in the aging over time in the aging process. If you see the bigger arrow there's a hypothesis that cancer survivors actually are experiencing accelerated aging. It's not just simply a phase shift. Next slide, please. So this brings us to, what does age mean? There has been studies showing that from a epigenetic point of view, biologically, the chronic age and the biological age are two different things. And in some people, there is a good agreement between chronic age and the biological age. So that's the normal aging. And there are some some population are experiencing premature aging or accelerated aging, meaning that your biological age are actually is greater than the biological age. And also there are healthy aging, which is everyone wants to be in, meaning that your biological age is much younger. I hope much younger, but basically that means biological age is younger than the chronological age. And also we can see that there are, of course, a genetic determinants reason there and environmental influence, but lifestyle and physical activity in particular have shown being the drivers of premature aging or the healthy aging. Depends on whether you are more active or inactive, and being a healthy lifestyle or unhealthy lifestyle. Next slide, please. Yeah, next slide. So not only the biological age matters in the whole aging process, functional age also matters. Everyone is different. Even for people at older age, you can perform very differently. But some may have a level of function of 30 years old, but some people may require assistance or the consistent caregiving caregiver, even for doing basic everyday tasks. So there's a difference in functional age for people with the same chronological age as well. Next slide, please. So what does this mean now here? Like, what is, are we, is really chronology age means everything? And it actually also comes to the concept where frailty come in. I don't know whether you guys are familiar with the concept of frailty, but basically, I think especially in the cancer research world, is becoming more and more interesting. And how I see frailty is how basically is the capacity of your body to bounce back or resist to external stress. And that's also highly associated with functional age. Next slide, please. So what I'm really interested in the future to do is we have to recognize that chronological age is not equal to physiological or functional age. There's a difference. But we're really interested to understand, do cancer and cancer treatment induce accelerated aging? Whether that was a phase shift or people may experience accelerated aging after the cancer treatment. And to be able to understand that, we need to incorporate measures on epigenetic aging markers to assess physiological aging, and to incorporate the geriatric and the frailty assessment to inform us what's the functional age. And eventually, of course, we all want to be in that healthy aging pattern. So something I'm really interested in is how can we slow down or even reverse this accelerated aging process? And can exercise help? But will exercise be enough? What else we need to do to, slow down and reverse this aging process? Next slide, please. So that's all I'll be talking about today. I want to thank all my collaborators from all over the world. Next slide, please. And I also want to thank the funding body who have been support my research, and Alberta Health Services and University of Calgary support my, they say they give me this job, and as well as Prostate Cancer Center and the Prostate Calgary who has support my research activities. Thank you so much.
Good. Thank you, Dr. Yang. Everybody's on mute, so you can't hear the applause, but
I can feel it. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah.
So I really want to learn more about your perspective, and whether this is something you feel interesting, important, and what you think it's important for you.
good.
Dr.
We've got
Yang, I'd like to, if I may, congratulate you on an excellent presentation.
Oh, thank you.
It's really my pleasure to see the progress that you've made in the very short time that you've been here.
I remember our conversation last time.
So it's exciting. Now I have one question, and that is with respect to your recruitment in the current project. It seems to me that you've got at least two groups of patients that are coming to you, and all of those will have been referred to the Southern Alberta Institute of Urology for examination and the likes. But some of those patients will fall into a category of what's called active surveillance, and the others would fall into a category that would prompt more immediate attention by the surgeon. In the case of active surveillance, perhaps that individual would be in a program for 12 months, 24 months, and either the individual's cancer does not progress to a point of needing surgery, or it does. So maybe I've just talked myself into 3 different categories. How do you, and I'm not sure if you agree or not, but
Yeah.
how would you address that situation in your recruitment?
That's an excellent point, Stuart. And actually, I think in the conversation I also had it with Brett, I think it was last year already, and Brett also brought up this active surveillance population. And in this particular projects that we're starting, we'll be focusing on those localized, clinically localized prostate cancer patients only, who on average would have a 83 days of waiting period between treatment decision and the prostate cancer surgery. And that's based on the data that is available from the Prostate Cancer Center. And actually, I've recently spoke with a clinician over the Rocky View Hospital, and he has suggested, similar to what has Brett suggested, that look into the active surveillance population as well, because this particular population may experience elevated anxiety, and they have, like you were saying, Stuart, that 12 or to 24 month program, and they are more, or it's easier to like closely follow this population up, but that's not going to be included in this specific study.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Good. I think Maurice, you had a question.
Actually, it's more of a comment for Dr. Yang. One of our members here in the Red Deer area was diagnosed about 1998 and was very active doing Tai Chi and diet regulation and so on and so forth. He is still just a wonder. The man is over 80 years old, and he just goes like he's a wonderful example. If most of that can be attributed to the Tai Chi and regulating your diet and so on, he's certainly done very well with it.
Yeah, that's amazing. I that is also something I felt like this is not specific to cancer, and that this is just really everyone.
Yeah.
And that's another reason I want to look at it. What is really the difference there, and what is particularly important for different types of population. Oh, and also I want to mention that the exercise that we did together, that was a different program from the one that we will be offering in this intervention study, because in this study the exercise will be more targeted for prostate cancer side effects. And actually I felt like that exercise, even though that's for the intervention projects, and anyone, if you're interested, I'm more than happy to introduce you to that program as well.
So just a question about the size of the project, Dr. Yang.
Yeah.
How many people do you expect to recruit, and in what time frame?
Yeah. Very good question. The plan is to recruit 60 people in each. So that means 30 people in each arm. 30 people in the intervention arm and 30 people in the control arm, and also with optional caregiver involvement. So that may double or close to double the size of the population. And in terms of time frame, the project is being funded for 2 years, and the sample size, the target sample size, is based on the duration of the funding period as well as the amount of the funding available.
One final question for me. From the point of view of the surgery, there's several different approaches taken
Yeah.
by the urologists at the SAIU. Which are you going to narrow it down to one type of surgery, or would it be including robotic surgery as well as the direct surgical procedure?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. And I think in here it's probably half-half or more on the open procedure.
Okay.
And in the cohort study I did in the US, majority of the procedure was done robotically. And there has been the belief that the minimum invasive procedure or the robotic procedure are better in terms of treatment outcome compared to open procedure, but that has not been proved actually. And again, this is unpublished data that I'm been working on the incontinence pad prescription data from Austria. And we're trying to look at if there actually a difference between incontinence pad prescription after the surgery between two types of surgical procedures. The two types include open and laparoscopic. I'm really bad with this word, but you know what I mean. Yeah, I will be more than happy to share the results from that study when it's ready.
Excellent.
I just have a quick comment, Dr. Yang. If anybody is interested in having you share that program that will be specific for your research, I'm just wondering if maybe I can put that out to people, have them send me their name and email address, and I will forward it all as one group to you rather than having individuals sending it to you.
Yeah, yeah, that would be really great. Thank you so much, Darcy.
So that email address would be info@PCCN.
No, that one's no longer in use.
That one's gone, so yeah. So
it's program.director@prostate.org.
yeah, that's Dorothy's direct email. But, yeah, the general one is info@prostatecalgary.org. Yeah.
Yeah,
Email.
I got tired of getting the real junk email on the PCCN Calgary info email. So yeah, we've closed that one down.
Good.
Looks like Dave has his hand up there too. I'm not sure if you got a question or comment, Dave.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, David Lund here, Dr. Yang. I was wondering on your first slide there, you said that that exercise is really a form of medicine as far as cancer is concerned. And then you went through, you know, I mean, whether it be exercise, and aerobic or stretching or the Tai Chi, whatever. Is your research going to look at the biology of that in terms of what is going on physiologically to make all these different modes of exercise beneficial? In other words, what is it doing to the cancer?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good comment. The exercise is medicine is I would say a movement begun by American College of Sports Medicine. And actually the very initial evidence how exercise may improve health was documented in the ancient writing hundreds of years ago. And in terms of modern science, the most recent, the early study showing that exercise benefits health is, I think it was in the 1940s. It was done in London, looking at how it was a really interesting study. You know, back then the UK, they have this double-decker bus, and they show that the drivers have a higher cardiovascular disease risk compared to the ticket conductors. And because the ticket conductor need to move up and down on the double-deck bus. And that's I would say that's the beginning of the modern science in showing exercise improve health. And in terms of cancer, I'm definitely interested in looking into the biologies. And existing evidence have shown that physical activity can reduce, for example, chronic inflammation and manage with the hormones that are related to sex hormones that are related to cancer risk. And those types of work will require biomarker inclusion, like data collections on biomarker and analysis. And I think that's really important, and also that's important information that will help us to understand why some people can benefit from exercise. Is everyone benefiting the same way from exercise? I think the answer will be no. And that can be informed from those biological mechanism studies.
Do you know of anyone that's doing? I'm somewhat familiar with what Apcari is doing relative to biomarkers and their nanotechnology, et cetera. And I'm just wondering, are they looking, or is there anyone in the research field that's looking at the connection between exercise and biomarkers and prostate cancer?
In prostate cancer, not that I'm aware of in Alberta, but I myself is planning to do studies like that. And because I think in recent years, in the past 5 years, we've seen epidemiological studies how exercise may protect people with prostate cancer from mortality. So they say that it's a lower mortality risk associated with exercise, but there's no study looking at the biomarkers. And I've recently had a discussion with pathologists in the prostate cancer center, and they have all the biosamples. And I was like, let's collect data on physical activity and look into this. What's really going on, in the biology? Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
Richard.
Yes, Doctor. I'm a survivor 10 years ago of radical surgery, and in the intervening years, I got my exercises from fitness classes, yoga, and walking generally. And as I've got older, I'm 75. I'm tending to reduce that to just walking, either outside or on a treadmill. With your planned project, are you looking for people like myself to form some sort of a post-surgery control group that would come in a couple of days a week to the Prostate Cancer Center and do some Tai Chi and see how our bodies change as a result of that? Is that something you're looking for?
I would love to do that, and actually, I even talk. Do you guys all know Anthony? But if you've been in prostate cancer center many years ago, you probably don't know him. He's the clinical nurse in prostate cancer center, and
what's his name?
Anthony Primack.
Primack, yes.
Yeah. He coordinates the Brain and Brawn on Monday nights for yoga, and the Strength and Stretch on Wednesday nights for the fitness class. So
yeah, and he's also
Brad. I'm thinking, Brad, of whether the doctor is looking for people like myself to participate in this program as a control group, having had the surgery and been a survivor.
no, they're looking for people prior to surgery.
Okay.
Yeah. But if you think people like you have a need of this kind of intervention, we are more than happy to work together to plan for a project to the specific population. Because I think there are existing exercise programs for people who survived cancer for a long time. but some of the intensity or the format of the exercise may not be everyone.
Yeah, as I've got older, the intensity is is not so easy for me. And I participated tonight in Tai Chi, and I've seen people do that. And I've been to Taiwan, and I've noticed that people there regularly start their day with Tai Chi before they go to work or before they go to school or whatever. And it's something I've never done, and it's something that I could be interested in doing. So maybe I should get a DVD or something like that and start it at home and see how I go.
Yeah, maybe try that. And I always feel like to have a group will help, you know, like I think it's the sense of community that helps. And actually for this Tai Chi program, my own goal is to have a community of Tai Chi practitioner growing here, and also that means one can teach the other, so it's a self-growing community that can go on.
Yeah. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you.
Sure.
Dr. Yang, I know you're familiar with the programs at the Prostate Cancer Center, and you know Dr. Nicole Coulis-Reed and the work she did with True North. Are you looking at any opportunities there to have the Thrive Center expand and take on some of the Tai Chi learnings?
That would be really fantastic. And that's a really good suggestion, actually. Nicole is also a co-investigator in this study, and she has been super supportive, and she's done similar research looking at how yoga works in this population. And she's also one of the co-investigator that was supporting the element of caregiver involvement. And I think she has now rather big projects in the planning, and I'll be Brad, that's a really good suggestion. I'll talk to her about to see the possibility to include another element.
The reason I mention it is tonight was my first exposure to Tai Chi, other than like Richard, where I've seen it practiced in the park in Hawaii or somewhere. But I was surprised at some of the movements, how they were tied in to both the fitness class and yoga. And it seemed to be a natural fit to augment both those fitness classes and the yoga classes with somewhere in between.
Yeah. Oh, that's a really good point. And also, I think it was Nicole's program. It's if I remember correctly, it's a 12-month program and offered to people. Then the patient will go back to, or the survivors go back to the community. Is that correct? I felt like it was only 12 weeks.
Yeah, Dave, you may be able to refresh me, but I think it was
okay.
It was 1 year.
Okay.
And then it went to Alberta Cancer Exercise and the maintenance program. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, then that's wonderful. And I found like
other source is Wellspring. They are running a number of courses there. So
I felt like having the continuity is really important.
Yeah.
And that's why I felt like this Tai Chi can be, first of all, having people, you can even become a certified teacher if you want. And you can be your instructor for yourself as well as your community. And this will keep growing. And, I just feel like having the community, that sense, that's also how I feel in this group. And I feel like that's really important part that I'm trying to promote.
Good. Any other questions? unimaginable that this group is so quiet. It must be that Zoom, everybody's on mute or something. So, but I want to just take a moment to say thank you, Dr. Yang. It was very good to be able to participate. I've never had that opportunity before, so thank you for sharing that experience.
It's my pleasure.
Now you've whetted my appetite, so I'll be seeking more. So I'll be going to Dorothy to get my name on her list of people looking for additional programs. So we wish you every success in your recruitment, and if we can help, you know where to reach us, and
Sure.
we are excited to see the progress that you've made, and we so much appreciate you taking the time to update us with your research. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to connect, and yeah, it's just really nice now with the COVID, and even this is over Zoom, I still feel like, I appreciate the opportunity, and thank you so much for all the support that you've been provided with me and our program, and I hope our collaboration continue.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, we're excited.
Thank you very much.
To hear that. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, with that,
Thank you.
we're going to adjourn the meeting. If there's no more questions, then we'll all go practice a few new Tai Chi moves that we learned tonight. we will get started on our learning. So thank you.
Hey.
Thank you.
you so much,
Thank you.
guys.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye.